Hello and welcome to Abundantly Minimal. My name is Sarah, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about a minimalist approach to business. Specifically, I'll be addressing 5 ways that minimalism and business, or self-employment, entrepreneurship, intersect, as well as many of the lessons I have learned, as well as important tools I use to help me work for myself and run Abundantly Minimal. That being said, this video definitely is catered towards those who also run a business or work for a business, as well as want to do that in the future. But I do think at least the 5 strategies I'll share at the beginning can really apply to anyone, even if you're not in the business world. Now, I do want to start out by saying that I am not, the top expert ever in entrepreneurship or business. I have an education degree rather than a business degree. So while I enjoy teaching and sharing my ideas, I have really learned everything on my own or through different courses or just experience. I started Abundantly Minimal in 2016 and I have learned a lot since then. Honestly, I wish someone was telling me what I'm about to share earlier in my journey because I could have saved a lot of time, a lot of money, and a lot of effort. That being said, let's get into the ways minimalism and business intersect. The first topic I want to address is alignment. When running a business, we want to make sure everything is aligned. Just like if you were to simplify your life, you want the items you have to align to your values and the vision you have for yourself. With business, it's the same. You want to make sure you know your why you're doing it, because that's ultimately going to be the best possible motivation ever, as well as making sure individual elements of your business are aligned to one another. Now for me, my why with running this business as well as my other company, Mr. and Mrs. Social Studies, the why is very simple, and I've had this why the entire time, even before Abundantly Minimal became successful, and that is I want to be a stay-at-home mom for my kids for a while. And there was no way to do that if I didn't build up my own company and that sort of thing. With that in mind, honestly, that is what guides me every single day. And while I love all the other benefits and opportunities and ways that I'm able to help others, my number one is knowing that I want that stay-at-home mom life. That's my why, and honestly, it's why I push so hard, it's why I work so hard. And I know that no matter what, even if in the short term it's harder and you're not earning what you want to be, knowing what your why is going to propel you wherever you need to go. You also want to make sure that with your business, individual elements are aligned. For instance, in the future, if you want to cover a certain topic or provide a course about a certain topic, you want there to be related content for that. You want it to have kind of a narrow focus. When I first started my channel, for the first year, I really had no success because I wasn't focused enough and the videos I was making weren't aligned to what I wanted to do. If it was supposed to be about people simplifying their lives, then I shouldn't have been doing as many recipe videos as I was, or travel videos. Those would be if I wanted to have a different goal. But if I want to help people live their best life with less, which I didn't think of until a couple years in that was going to be my official catchphrase, the recipe videos and travel vlogs don't really have a place on the channel, even though I enjoyed making them. Having a narrow focus and actually starting to make only minimalism videos for the most part is what helped grow the channel and the business. So making sure everything that you're creating is aligned to the bigger picture. It also is important for us to have this sense of alignment when we think about other things that we'll create. If you want to create a free guide for someone to download, don't just make a guide about some random topic just because it's easy to collect someone's emails. Have an exact plan in place. If someone gives you their email address for decluttering, they want more decluttering tips. So to know that you can send them emails specifically about decluttering, but not necessarily other elements of the business, is an important strategy. The second strategy is the warm sunshine approach. And I did officially learn this from my business mentor, Casey Morris, who honestly I adore. I've worked with her more so with my teaching business, but the tools she's taught me apply to both. And she talked about the importance of finding the people who feel like warm sunshine to you. You see, there is so much information out there and so many people who honestly are covering similar types of things. I'm sure many of you watching this channel also watch other minimalism channels, or at least are aware of them. And it's important for us to all figure out who our warm sunshine is. In general, there's way too much content out there to be able to consume everything. And if we try to consume everything, you don't actually have time to put strategies into effect. And sometimes you'll find that the strategies people are giving you contradict each other. So it's really about narrowing in on your warm sunshine type people. Who inspires you the most? Who makes you feel like they are your friends or they are your type of people? That's kind of who you want to surround yourself with and consume their content. So for me, I've enjoyed narrowing that down over time, and I find it to be really helpful to not try to think I need to learn all the things from everyone, but let me pick my top 5 people who are the most transformational to me and who I can focus in on. Because we also want to make sure that we're creating more than we're consuming. It's very easy to consume a lot, and I'm not just talking about social media, but to consume videos, to consume, just have too many ideas. Even from a food perspective, we don't want to consume too much. But if we focus on creating more than consuming, that's going to allow us to kind of shift the focus. It will help us feel better. It helps us get our ideas out there, and we're not as likely to be overwhelmed with information that it prevents action. So I want you to reflect, who would you say are like your top 5 warm sunshine kind of people? And focus on diving in with them and shutting out some of the extra noise. Less really is more. The third way that minimalism and business intersect have to do with the concept of growth versus maintenance. A lot of times businesses are very focused on growth. They want to continue scaling, new locations, new clients, new people hired, just grow, grow, grow. And it makes sense. You're trying to reach more people, help more clients, make more money, whatever it is. It's definitely a big part of business, and there have been moments where I've really focused on growth for Abundantly Minimal. But there's also something to be said about maintenance. For instance, if you can make it work and have sustainable income to run a business for yourself, and it feels sustainable, then there's no need to have to grow. It also is helpful too, because the honest truth is that maybe there's moments where you'd like to grow, but you're just not. This was a mindset shift I had to make this year because I was very fortunate. Abundantly Minimal grew pretty rapidly from October of last year to about April. And then I started to see a decline where I was still growing, but at about 70% slower of a pace than those previous 6 months. And at first, you're running through things like, what's wrong? What happened? What is the reason that I'm not growing as much anymore? And so you have to kind of do some reflection, and I was able to sort of pinpoint what was happening and have been able to work on applying that a bit. But it's important for us to know that yes, there are going to be periods of time where you're not growing as much and you're just maintaining. And we want to make sure we acknowledge that the maintaining part is good. At this point, of course, yes, I would like to keep growing. Yes, I would like to generate more revenue than I am. But the honest truth is that from a maintenance perspective, I can maintain this. And it takes a lot less energy and a lot less work to be able to maintain it than focus on the growth, especially if you're trying to put a lot of extra energy in. Now, granted, there are elements of growth that I'm planning on and working towards. I've kind of been in maintenance mode for a while, so I could create some courses and that kind of thing. I think it's really important for us to acknowledge that the growth and maintenance modes really connect to one another, and you might see your business go like this, and that's okay. The fourth way that minimalism and business intersect is also a topic that honestly I think applies to anyone in anything, and I wish I learned it sooner. It is the concept of attract and repel. In life, we're all trying to find our people, whether it's our friends or a job that we really like with coworkers we really like, or in business, trying to be able to reach the right people who need your message. We often might feel like we need to reach all the people or do all the things or be liked by everyone. But the truth is that's not how it's supposed to be done. It's not about playing to the middle. It's about finding your people specifically. And when you're putting yourself out there and trying to find your people, you're going to interact with people who are not the right fit for you, who don't agree with your message, who don't agree with what you're trying to do, who aren't going to be helped by what you're trying to provide. And that is okay. That is part of the process. This helped me back when I was a teacher because rather than trying to have all the students like me, I started being more of my true self, my more blunt self sometimes. And guess what? I know there were students who despised me or did not like my class at all. But that was fine with me because it was never about trying to have everyone like me. Obviously, my main purpose of being there is not for it to be a popularity contest. It's about teaching and helping them with relevant skills that they'll need in their future. But it's also really cool to have those students you connect with and you form that really supportive relationship with. So the same thing kind of applies with business. There are going to be people who dislike what you're doing and who are rooting for you to fail, unfortunately. But the thing that I've learned is that you can't give into that. And at least doing YouTube, there's definitely a lot of this that you hear in the comment section. And I'm very lucky, 98% of all my comments are so sweet and supportive, and I have really amazing people here on the Abundantly Minimal channel. But there's also been people who have not liked my approach, not liked the way I look, not liked the things I'm saying, not like the direction the channel's going. And while I definitely appreciate when there is constructive criticism shared, the thing is I cannot try to tailor or change what I'm doing to fit everyone's needs. There's going to be people who maybe liked my videos at some point, but then realize that they don't want to keep watching them in the future. That's fine. I do that all the time with channels. I might discover a channel and love their videos, but then, not necessarily unsubscribe, but just stop watching them over time. So it happens, and I know that happens with people with my channel. And there's other people who I might put a video out that offends them or makes them upset. And that's never my intention, obviously, but it's just important to know that people will come and go as they please, but if they are someone who is unsubscribing or not really resonating with your message, they were never meant to be your true person anyway. They weren't really your people. They're for someone else. So if we can really apply that attract and repel concept, I think you're going to find it liberating in your business, especially if you're doing something digital or with social media where it feels more personal sometimes, and it's easy for people to get caught up in the numbers, like, oh, I only have this many followers or these followers left. It's all about attracting and repelling. And the fifth way that minimalism and business intersect has to do with monetization. And this one's definitely pretty difficult, especially being in the minimalism space. Unfortunately, it's probably the worst possible topic to do if you are looking to make money online or run your own business. Nonetheless, it's something that I care about. So even though I have to work a lot harder to make ends meet than someone in another industry, to me it is still worth it because I value the message. That being said, unfortunately, there is often some shame and misinformation that goes into monetizing online content. I know especially that's been something I've battled with a little bit, and part of the reasons that my channel might not be growing as much in the last 6 months, and that has to do with monetization, because ultimately, many people who are consuming online content don't want to pay for that, which makes perfect sense. But it is difficult because I think there is misinformation out there, and maybe people think that online creators are earning more money than they are. I am definitely very appreciative to be on YouTube and to get paid from YouTube every month. My earnings range around $1,200 to $1,500 most months. At least for my channel, I've found that it's really about the viral videos or the videos that are more successful. I've been fortunate enough to, at least at the time of recording this, have several videos that have done pretty well. And so I'm lucky that each of those videos have generated several $1,000s each, which is really helpful. But most of my videos on average earn less than $100. And when you break down the number of hours that go into something like that, I'm really making close to an hourly wage for doing that. So for me, it is something I love doing, but that is unfortunate. And I think sometimes maybe there's a different view of, oh, YouTube's easy, like get a real job, some of those kind of things, which I personally have not gotten those kind of comments, but I've definitely seen them in other aspects. So that part can be pretty tricky. At least from the YouTube perspective, there's also a big focus on sponsorships. But again, from a minimalist perspective, that's difficult. So I think it also ties back into the alignment we talked about. I think there's nothing wrong with sponsorships, and I think there's no shame in that, especially because I know firsthand that earning money from YouTube ads is definitely hit or miss, and especially you can have ads on your video, but if it's the one that are skippable, if someone skips the ad, you do not earn any money from that because the advertiser does not have to pay for the view if someone skips it. So there's little things like that can be frustrating. With that in mind, if you can focus on aligning the sponsorships that you do accept with your business and actually choose companies that you care about working with, that is so important. Actually, to date, I've declined over $10,000 worth of sponsorship or free product that people have offered to me in exchange for making videos, and I've just declined it because it didn't feel right. Now, do I wish I had $10,000 extra right now? Heck yes, I do. That's big money. But to me, it wasn't worth it to work with those companies, even if it was objectively a great company. If I didn't agree with the message or it just wasn't something that I thought would be relevant or meaningful to my audience, I want to make sure that people trust me. So that's important to think about, making sure that everything aligns with one another. I think it's also important to make sure that you are respecting yourself enough and valuing yourself enough to make sure you accept what you're worth. Now, one really helpful strategy that my friend Vera from Simple Happy Zen told me was that for every 10,000 subscribers or followers, that can kind of equate to about $100, at least here on YouTube. Even though my channel's now in the 40,000s, I am personally not accepting any more brand sponsorships that are less than 300. And I do know that me setting that boundary and no longer accepting anything less than $300 for a video does mean that I might not get as many sponsorships. But to me, it is important to make sure I am valuing myself, and if that means no sponsorships, oh well. That all being said, I think it is important to focus on creating your own opportunities. And that's one reason why I've had so much fun creating my online courses, is because it's a chance for me to obviously connect my love of minimalism and intentional living with also my teaching skills, just because that is what I have been trained and love doing. But also, I own that. I don't own YouTube. I don't own some of these other platforms. And so if they decide to say, you know what, we're not going to pay people anymore from YouTube, I would be in trouble if I didn't have these other avenues that I can focus on. So definitely, whatever kind of business you have or you wish to create, make sure that you do own a large part of that, just in case something happens and something shuts down or changes so it doesn't hurt you financially. That all being said, I want to talk now about some of my most helpful tools. And honestly, I really wish someone would have told me these a long time ago, because it would have saved me so much time. I've wasted a lot of money as well over time because I didn't make the right choice right away. So I learned through that mistake what the right choices were. So this section here, I'm going to walk through the tools. I do have all of these tools linked in the description field below, but also on abundantlyminimal.com at the top, there's a favorites tab. And on the favorites tab, you can see these when you pull them up. I've got a lot of my favorite items or recommended items there for business, as well as a few other aspects of life. So you can view them at that page as well. The biggest game changer for me has actually been fairly recent. Back in August, I officially switched to Kajabi, which is basically the most minimalist business platform ever, because all of these separate things that you can pay lots of money to separate companies to do, it's all in one. So it's my website. It's where I teach the online courses. It's where I send emails to people. I can build so many different pages there. And honestly, at first I thought that it was just like a luxury site. Like, it is more expensive compared to other individual things. But when you add up everything that you get, I actually am saving a lot of money. It does cost me about $119 per month. I did actually pay the yearly price, so that is the yearly price. If you were to pay monthly, it'd be $150 a month, but I get to use it for my online courses, and the site I was going to use was $79 a month, so already a pretty large chunk. It's my website. Now, my website was not as much before. It was about $10 to $15 a month. However, I did not like the site, feel like it was professional enough or representative of what I wanted. So my new site I love so much more. And it does cost several $100s to have someone design your site. So I was able to do it all by myself, which I loved. From an email perspective, I'm allowed to have up to 10,000 email addresses on file that I send my weekly decluttering emails to. I'm definitely not anywhere near the 10,000 mark yet, but to be able to have 10,000 emails that you're sending emails to is often about $100 at certain places. I was previously using the company MailChimp, which allows you to send emails for free up to the first 2,000 people. Fortunately, I got out of there just before I hit 2,000, and now I'm sending them through the Kajabi platform. But they charge basically $10 for every 500 people you have. So that adds up fast, and there's way less features. So that's definitely something I'm happy to have left behind. I don't have to pay for a landing pages site. So Lead Pages is a popular program people can use to create beautiful landing pages for a course template or to sign up for the emails, that kind of thing. But the landing page capabilities are in Kajabi. So really, I have just been so in love with it. If you are interested, I do have a free 28-day challenge, which is actually double the free trial that you get if you just sign up on your own. So again, that's linked below, as well as any of the other tools I'm mentioning. For my email address, I purchased that through G Suite, which is basically through Google. And it's $6 a month, so pretty affordable. And it's been such an upgrade. Before, when I was working with the old website host, they did provide a free email as part of that $10 or $15 a month I was paying, but that email was terrible because I'm used to using Gmail for a lot of different things and having Google Drive, and it's just really user-friendly. The site I was using was terrible. Like every time someone sent a message, even if it was a reply, it showed up as a new message. I only had 100 megabytes of storage compared to 15 gigabytes in G Suite. Or maybe even 30 actually. I don't remember exactly. And it just really was a lot tougher to be able to organize files. And so now it's been so much better because I can send out messages, reply to people so much easier now using G Suite. And I can even use the Google Drive capabilities because before I had the business email, sarah@abundantly.minimal.com, but I also had another Gmail where I kept my documents. So it was just like too many accounts. So I'm so happy to switch to G Suite. And if you are interested, I wish I could have gotten this discount, but you can actually get 20% off for your first year of membership to that if you do use my link. I also am obsessed with Canva. It's what I use to create all of my thumbnails for videos, and it's really nice because they have different size options to create different files. So if you're doing social media posts, thumbnails, if you want to create flyers or even an ebook, I actually created my cookbook in Canva when I was first starting. And they do have a free account, so definitely sign up if you haven't. I do use the paid account just because it does give me more options and I genuinely use it almost every day. I use the company SendOwl to sell my ebooks. So like I mentioned, I have my cookbook as well as my Declutter Without Guilt ebook, and I have a couple more things coming up that I'll be using SendOwl for, and it's just pretty affordable and easy to set up. I remember earlier on when I was in the cookbook process and I finished the book and I was so excited and ready to share it, and I thought I was going to use Amazon, but when I was actually getting into it, it was one of the biggest headaches ever to try to sell it that way. And unfortunately with Amazon, if you're selling on there, you really don't earn that much. I believe if you sell it exclusively on Amazon and nowhere else, you get 70% of the cost. And if you do sell it on Amazon but other places, you only get 40% of the cost. At least that's what it was a couple years ago when I was looking into it. So I just like it better having it on my own site. And even though I might not be getting as many people to look at it, you get a larger percentage of what the person's actually paying. Now, one company that I've actually worked with on several videos and is not sponsoring this video is Skillshare, but I genuinely think it's an amazing platform, especially for business. As I mentioned before, like in the warm sunshine piece, there's so much information out there. And technically, yes, you can probably find the information you need for free somewhere if you spend enough time and you read enough things or watch enough video tutorials. Here's the thing though, it's just easier to have a course or someone who's literally guiding you through the steps and to see their workflow. And so even though you could probably find most things for free. I think the course option's really great. Now, I personally have paid for some expensive courses in my time. When I add up the amount of money I've paid in courses, it's around $3,000. So definitely a hefty amount. And some courses are really expensive. I have looked into courses that were $1,000 or $2,000 each. Ultimately not really deciding on those usually. It can be expensive, but the fact that Skillshare has such an affordable membership, if you just pay monthly, it's $15 and then you can cancel when you're done. Once you've consumed the content. I just actually took a video course on there. I'll leave the information, the name of the course below, but honestly, I learned several strategies in there that maybe are relatively simple, but honestly have sped up my editing process so much just from that course. So there is a lot of great stuff on there, especially if you're in the business profession, because you can take unlimited courses there. So again, this video is not sponsored by them at all, but they are legitimately, it's a great option. Now, in the past, I did first host my course on the website Thinkific, and they were definitely user-friendly. In my opinion, it's nowhere close to the level Kajabi is, but it's a good starter option, and I do think that it would have worked for me, and I might have still kept using it if I was creating a course and someone could sign up whenever. I personally do like with my Better with Less course that I can go through the weeks with the participants and I can, send them a message each week and check in about that specific topic so they're all kind of at the same place. Like I said, it was going to be $79 if I was to pay for that feature. I was originally just doing the $39 a month plan, which means you can't lock courses, which is unfortunate. So if you don't care about a start or end date of a course, then it could definitely be a good option for you. I still will leave the link below. It's definitely cheaper, but I feel like it's one of those things that you do get what you pay for. And that's where I'm just so over the moon with the Kajabi features. Also, let's say you are interested in blogging. I've learned a lot about blogging from Casey Morris, who I mentioned earlier. And if you do wish to blog, there's obviously all the different websites out there, like there's Squarespace, there's Wix, there's Blogger with Google. And when we really look at what's going to help you rank highest, specifically with search engine optimization, WordPress is by far the best thing you can do. And Bluehost and WordPress together are typically recommended. So if you do wish to blog, I would definitely recommend, you'd have to purchase your domain name. You can do that from Bluehost, but a lot of people use like GoDaddy and some of those other domain providers. Bluehost is a great host for your website. I originally did not use them, and that was a terrible mistake. Not only was I paying more, but the servers were down sometimes. I got more spam stuff coming in, and ultimately I said, you know what, enough's enough. I'm switching to Bluehost, and unfortunately I couldn't get any of my money back that I had paid for the other one, so that was a bummer. But if you're going to create a website and you want to blog, do Bluehost and then WordPress. I personally do prefer Kajabi to using this, but for my teacher business, since blogging is more important, that is what I'm using for that business. And that wraps up some of my favorite tools there to help me run my business. Let me know any questions you have in the comments below. I have found overall, especially now that I've been working for myself a couple of months, this is honestly such a passion of mine. I have loved teaching and I still get to teach, just not a physical classroom. But honestly, entrepreneurship and self-employment has been one of the most enjoyable experiences. It's definitely hard. I would say it's harder than teaching, and teaching's hard anyway, but it's definitely been something that's so worth it. I know even though there's all these different challenges that come up, I honestly have nights where I'm laying in bed trying to fall asleep and I'm literally smiling, not because I'm a crazy person, but just because I'm having so much fun doing this. So if it is something you're interested in, I love talking about it and answering questions. So I am happy to do that in the comments below. Thank you for watching this video and have a great rest of your day. Bye.